Hey everybody, it's Cole Carbone, and you are watching the Peepshow podcast.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the show, Peepshow Podcast, Episode 3. We are up and rolling. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Redicus here. Grayson was not able to make it today, unfortunately. That doesn't mean we're not going to do the show, and we are live here with a very, very special guest. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. But ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, and our first guest, actually, we haven't had any before, so pretty cool stuff. Moving up in the world. But like I said, some of you guys may know him. Some of you may not. I got to get your sound effects queued up here. Some of you may know him. Some of you may not. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cole Carbone, welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. This beautiful audience.
Yeah, man. They're paper thin, so you can't take too much away from them. But guys, today Cole and I are really going to be talking about the horror industry. As you can see from the title of the video, that's how it's going to go down. So really quick, just probably the biggest question of the day, and we're going to try and knock it out first. Cole, you are a big horror guy.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, before we ask that question, Cole, actually introduce yourself a little bit. Give us a rundown of who you are for those of you who don't know who he is.
Hey guys, I'm Cole Carbone. I'm an aspiring filmmaker, artist, and director, and I've been in love with the everything movies and the horror genre, especially since I was 4 years old. My love began when I watched King Kong when I was at a really young age, the first original 1930s, and it's just grown and grown since then. And it's an honor to talk, and it's an honor to be in your eardrums. So, yeah, let's get on with this.
Yeah, man. Cole is a good friend of ours. You actually just got accepted into Ringling for your art, man. You were telling us about
it's a dream
how you
come
love
true.
to draw, and I have a couple of classes with you. Well, one class, and that's all you do is draw.
Yeah.
Hey, man, your drawing got you into college. Not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah. So whenever a teacher tells you that you should not do something that you love over classwork, ignore them. Because your passions will get you farther than classwork ever will.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Congratulations again. I actually just got a text from our good buddy Grayson here. I sent him the invite a while ago. There he is, Grayson.
There he is.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry that took a while.
Hey, brother.
Man, I thought we were going to have to fly solo, but you showed up and saved the day.
Here we go.
How you doing, fellow traveler?
I am having the time of my life, sir. Yourself?
Did you get a haircut?
No, I did not get a haircut yet. It's still an untamed mess, unfortunately, but working on that.
That's all right, man. Grayson, as you know, we do have Cole on the show today, and we're going to be talking pretty much everything horror.
Fantastic.
Cole's
This
a
is my
horror
first
guy.
time meeting you, man.
Oh,
How's it going?
Yeah, you go to Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
cool,
a senior. He's an art student too.
Oh, fun. What's your focus?
I'm not a major, but I love all movies and art and everything.
Oh, well, it seems like we'll get along just fine then.
Yeah, totally. All right.
Hey,
So,
Grayson, you want to show him something real cool?
Sure. What?
Oh, never mind. You already got it on. All
Oh.
these overlays, man. I can never get enough. So let's get down to business, just like Cole was starting to say. But we're going to talk about the horror industry and basically where it stands or what you think the opinion of, where horror is now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just going to talk about, first thing on the show, we're going to talk about the horror industry. So, Cole, since you are the guest here today, talk to us and tell us your thoughts about how you think the horror industry holds up today.
well, the horror industry has a really weird evolution. Well, back in the times like where in my opinion the golden age of all horror is around the 80s and 70s when real actual critically
Like the
acclaimed
Hammer
directors
Studio,
like what's up.
like the Hammer Studios, sort of that sort of era.
Oh no, I was thinking of more like Stanley Kubrick and Steven Spielberg and Brian De Palma, world acclaimed directors, taking upon the genre and completely establishing it like with masterpieces like The Shining, Carrie, Poltergeist, just all these amazing films, and it made something that was more like of B movies and gore flicks and jokes around that time into a true art form and made something out of and made it respectful and made it like something into its own. Now I think we've gone a way step back, and it's now and whenever someone brings up the term horror, it's like porn. It's such a disgraceful, horrible form of genre now, and it's a shame because there's so much potential to it.
So you don't think there's anything like in modern horror that's come out you think that stands a chance? I mean, I know it's kind of hard comparing horror now than, you know, like you said, the golden age, the 70s and 80s. But you don't think there's anything coming out now that, I mean, could remotely be like a face for modern day horror?
I absolutely do. The face of modern horror right now is through independent films and foreign films. They are really truly bringing their own spin to it and showing that there is a way to do things on their own. The work Guillermo del Toro, the man who made Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy series, and I know he's really bringing it on his own and turning horror into something beautiful. Independent films are finding new ways to freak people out, like The Babadook recently and The Witch. They're with such small budgets, they're destroying it. And a lot of great directors now, even modern ones like James Wan, who's responsible for the Saw series, Insidious, and The Conjuring. He's really bringing up new ways of modern horror and excitement to a lot of things. So it's definitely not dead. I just feel like you have to look for it. You have to dig in order to find something truly worthwhile.
I got you. What about you, Grayson? I know you're halfway through something that actually looks kind of scrumptious. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. It is a caprese chicken pesto sandwich. It's actually really terrific. I think to discuss horror in film, I think you can't, have a conversation without going back to the very beginning. I feel film started with horror, at least what we have come to know as horror. I mean, back in the silent era, a video of not really a video, a film strip of a train coming at you would frighten the piss out of people. But I really think where this sort of genre came into its own was with a little, I think it was a German film called Nosferatu, if you're familiar with it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was a sort of a take on the Dracula story. And ironically enough, the descendants of Bram Stoker sued the creator because of it, and almost all the prints of Nosferatu, this incredible film, were almost destroyed, except for a few rogue copies. And now it's celebrated as the beginning of cinema horror. And once you go a few years later, I think you have to talk about the Universal monster movies, the Boris Karloffs, the Bela Lugosi films, those pictures, which sort of defined horror of that era. And really, what was interesting about those, and what came before that, what was horror, was like Mary Shelley's Dracula, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Dracula, the Headless Horseman, all sort of religious fears, like all the perverse nature of the creatures and monsters in that all have their roots in religion, like Frankenstein symbolizes going against the word of God and such. But it sort of is a really almost the definitive take on that sort of monster movie. Were the movies that came out in that era and have since been emulated in things like Young Frankenstein, one of my personal favorites. I know you, Rhett, like that movie a lot. Is your Mel Brooks. But
that's a great movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good movie.
Mm-hmm. But then from there, you get into like the 60s, and you get 50s and 60s. And you get into movies like Psycho, which is kind of a horror, kind of horror, kind of not.
We're coming for you.
All right, just making sure there wasn't anyone peeping their heads in. But and then you get something like The Shining, which I was talking about this the other day, where Cronenberg does body horror and Del Toro does sort of gothic horror, fantasy horror. The Shining is sort of soul horror. There's not any like big scares or jump scares or.
It's all psychological.
Yeah, it's all psychological.
Yeah,
it just
it messes
disturbs
with you
on a spiritual level. It just upsets you.
Have you happened to see Cole? I know you're probably on your phone now, but have you actually seen Cole's phone case? Yeah, there it is. You see it, Grayson?
Yep, it's the original Shining carpet.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that.
It's seriously like my favorite thing ever. When I saw it, I had to have it.
Me and Cole were talking about The Shining, and I mean, I'm not really going to say who it was because I don't think I'm at liberty to say who it was.
Oh, God, this made me so angry.
We were talking about The Shining, and like I said, I'm not going to say who it is because if she's watching, I don't want to call her out or anything, but she looks over and she's like, The Shining, that wasn't that good of a movie. I was like, are you serious?
Well, a lot of the response, like Steven Spielberg even said in an interview that he didn't get it, like the first time he saw it. And like
it's also one of those movies that you have to watch more than once, depending on like how well you analyze movies, I guess. Like The Butterfly Effect, I had to watch that 3 times before I got it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies you have to sit down and think about like once it's over, along with most Kubrick films, such as like 2001, Clockwork Orange. They're not easy to understand. They're not spoon-fed to you. So a lot of it, like, yeah, The Shining is scary on its own, like the first time you watch it. But then you start to unveil, and the ending starts to make more sense, and there's a lot more things. You just have to put your mind into it and like get into it, the story, and then it becomes this completely different thing than what you first saw. And movies that do that are seriously some of the best in the world, in my opinion.
I think. Well, we're talking about that type of horror, you know, the horror that messes with you. Now, I was going to say, and I figure I'd kickstart this part of the conversation. Now, what do you guys think is the main problem of horror today? Now, my biggest thing is that the horror industry today and all the movies that seem to come out, there's maybe only 5 or 6 good horror movies a year, and that's if we're lucky. But I think one of the biggest problems with horror today is that they rely so much on just one type of... It's like a formula. They rely so much on things like jump scares and cheap scares that I haven't seen a modern horror movie and left the movie thinking about it. You know, we were just talking about how The Shining kind of messes with you and you feel bad after watching it. I haven't seen a modern day horror movie that can do that to somebody.
I feel like Insidious was pretty close for me. Like, it was pretty messed up. But everything, I agree. I think the problem with horror movies today is the same problem we have with films today, where most studios see things as risk. No matter what it is, if it costs too much money, it's a risk, or it's not based off something that's we know as people that's familiar to us, then it's a risk and it shouldn't be taken. And a lot of films right now, there are probably a billion the next Star Wars movies that are like, these insanely amazing stories, and that will change the way movies are made in this future, but they're never picked up or never made because they cost too much money, or not many people may see them, and the studio doesn't want to take that. That's why there's so many reliance on superhero films and remakes and everything around that. And a lot of horror movies, while in the sense that they become, well, like they'll, oh, hold on, I'm tongue-tied. Well, they try to do brand new things. I think a lot of people see them as, I don't think we could do another Shining in this day and age. I don't think people would get it. I don't think,
because Kubrick's taking a dirt nap.
I know, it's depressing, but same with but if it came out today, I think a lot of studios would be like, what's up?
I said, I guess we're not going to see any more Shinings, considering he's dead in the ground.
Yeah, and thank God, I don't want any more sequels. And that's the last thing we need. But I just think we're at the point right now where if the Shining script came out, I think the studio would try to be too controlling of it and want to change it, or something like that. I think a lot of creative freedom is taken away from artists today in film, especially around like different certain genres, especially horror.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's about it.
I was going to say, I think one of the biggest things with horror that always used to sort of turn me off towards it was the stigma, in a sense. Like just this idea of just sort of schlocky, chainsaw, gore fest. There's always like this idea I had in my mind of horror. That's why it took me so long to kind of approach it, and that's why I say I'm not really a horror guy. Because I'm not, the zombie enthusiast like I know a lot of people are, the Walking Dead fans, No.
Deadheads.
The Walking Dead, is walking, he's walking dead. No.
I want to be like you.
Oh God, no! Please.
Did you see Jungle Book yet?
I have not, but I've heard it's basically Christopher Walken as an orangutan.
It works. Okay, trust me, it actually works.
I'll take your word for it.
It's actually like
you.
Okay, until he starts.
He doesn't sing. Apparently, he doesn't sing.
Huh?
And Blue doesn't sing either, and he's basically Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, Bill Murray does.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Blues. It's worth checking out. That's probably one of my favorite movies that's come out in like a couple months.
I think a pretty good modern day horror movie. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. It was The Babadook. It came out a couple of years ago.
Fantastic. It's great. It's on Netflix right now. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Independent scene, earlier. That's totally ties into that. But if there's only one like mainstream horror director that actually has a good head on his shoulders, it would probably be James Wan, because he's able to do stuff with like a relatively low budget and make something decent with it, and not like overdo it like some other horror directors do. Because horror is a really good entry point for young and upcoming directors. Like you give them a small budget, so long as they can put together a spooky atmosphere, you can make a decent amount of money back, and then they can move on to a better project, hopefully.
I think that's another one of the good things about horror, is that horror can be made with almost no budget. I guarantee you that if we all put our minds together, every single kid in TV production class, we could put out a fantastic independent horror movie that gives you good scares without the AAA effects and the funding.
The thing is that a lot of studios are relying on horror so much now because of that fact alone. The Witch that recently came out only has $1 million budget with inflation, and apparently I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard it's terrifying. Like, it's one of the scariest movies in years, and with just $1 million, when movies like Superman are $250 million, and just don't turn out that amazing.
Martha.
Martha.
Poor
Martha.
Chocolate.
It's his mommy's name.
I've got now I've got some questions for everyone here. Actually, Cole, we took to social media yesterday. Every single outlet, people actually got a little pissed off because we posted it so much. But you posted on Facebook and you asked if anybody had any questions, and it turns out we got a couple of responses. I've got them right here from Marie Ortiz and another guy.
Maria is wait, hold on one moment. Maria is going to college with me, and I wanted to say I can't wait to meet you in person. And thank you so much for answering getting this question out, because it's a really good one.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So I got to hear Marie Ortiz on Facebook. Thank you for the question. It says, what horror movies do you consider to have a good blend of story and scares? Since some of the horror movies nowadays focus mostly on the scary aspect rather than a story, which ones do you think do it well?
My personal wait, you go first.
Oh, sorry. I want to say one of my favorite horror movies, and a lot of people don't consider this a horror movie. I personally do. Is Pan's Labyrinth. There are a lot of like really eerie, sort of spooky moments in that movie, but it's like not over the top. Jump scares or just blood and guts everywhere. It's a beautiful combination of sort of gothic fairy tales, which I think, are inherently in themselves spooky, like classical, like the Brothers Grimm and things of that nature, the Hans Christian Andersen tales, along with like some ideas about the Holocaust and, fascist Spain. And, the scariest guy in that is not one of the monsters, it's the general in that movie. But I feel that movie is sort of, I feel, a good entry point for a lot of horror people, because it does combine, this beautiful, gorgeous, luscious imagery and a fantastic story with, things that are classic horror elements, but can be used in a way that isn't just relegated to, I don't know, just horror by itself. Horror for horror's sake.
I completely agree. Before I answer my question, I wanted to shout out the actor who plays the Pale Man and Pan inside in Pan's Labyrinth. He also plays Abe Sapien, Doug Jones.
Yeah,
I've personally talked to him over Instagram. Oh. He's the nicest person you'll ever meet. And
yeah.
If you love horror and take appreciation with the acting that comes with it, including monster design and everything, talk to this brilliant man. His name's actor Doug Jones on Instagram. Send him a message, he'll respond. He's a wonderful person.
Cool. Yeah, I got his autograph at Fanboy Expo, and I was dressed as
way.
Hellboy. Yeah, I was dressed as Hellboy at the time, and he.
Show him the hand.
Oh yeah, I'll show you my right hand of doom. 1 second,
please.
I want to say it was made out of. I could be wrong. He actually had me try it on. It's pretty sweet. I want to say it was made out of paper mache, but he's got it right there. Here he comes. This is cool, man. You see it?
No, hold on. Yeah, that's so awesome. Whoa, it's actually like your fingers.
If I present him to everyone, then we'll be able to see it. There you go.
There we go.
That is so awesome.
There's the knuckles right along here. Is sort of the thumb. Thumb gets a little stuck every once in a while, but
yeah, it's all the little strings inside.
That's brilliant. Oh my god, I love that. You made that yourself?
Yes, I did. A lot of
That's awesome.
Tears and styrofoam.
I thought it was
so
paper
cool.
mache.
Huh?
I thought it was paper mache.
These parts here are sort of paper mache, but this is sort of like a mat board I used, and a lot of spray paint and elastic strips sort of in here for the joints that so that they bend.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
I'm a regular Jim Henson.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, speaking of Jim Henson, have you ever this is kind of sort of a horror movie, but The Dark Crystal.
Oh,
fantastic. Yeah.
The Dark Crystal.
Man, people like Jim Henson. If I had to pick one person creatively that I wish was still alive today, it would be Jim Henson. Because could you imagine the stuff he would do today for movie effects like CGI and everything if he was there to constantly innovate like he was when he was alive? It's a dirty shame he just didn't go to the damn hospital.
Yeah.
Have you there's this brilliant speaking of Jim Henson, you might like this, Cole. It's this beautiful, gorgeous graphic novel. Like, it was an adaptation of one of his scripts that he never made. It's called Tale of Sand. It's worth checking
I've not
out.
heard of this.
It's gorgeous. It was I think he
I'm
was
looking it up now.
I'm trying to think who the illustrator was. One of my favorite comics illustrators. It was illustrated by.
You're talking about it was like one of the last things he did, right?
It was actually
That's
a script they found in his attic after he had
released it like
died.
2011, right?
Huh?
They released it like 2010,
2010, 2011, somewhere around that time. And
I'm looking at the illustrations right now. They're beautiful.
Yeah, it's
everybody look this up. This is great.
Yeah, Ramon Perez is the guy's name who does the illustrations. He's gorgeous. I've wanted him to do a Star Wars book for a while, but
oh yeah,
awesome.
He would ever do that. But yeah, he's one of my favorite comic illustrators, and it's sort of it makes you think that Jim Henson never really needed drugs. He was just so creative on his own.
Yeah,
but
it's really insane what that man did for this medium. Like without him, a lot of things we take for granted so much now is like it wouldn't even be around.
Such as
even think about, really, man. But back to the question. The story, I think the best horror movies of all time put story over scares, in the sense that they're more of a narrative and they're more of everything. And the perfect example of this, and it's my favorite horror film of all time, is American Werewolf in London. It was one of the first to put comedy and horror. It was the same director of Animal House and Blues Brothers, John Landis. And it's it's just this brilliant mix of everything with legit scares, amazing makeup and effects, awesome dialogue, the perfect soundtrack, and yeah, it's one of those movies that's like it's so funny and so like heartwarming and so real and so serious, yet it's scary the entire way through. Some of these effects you just look at and think, oh god, it's just ghastly and awful, and it really takes it a form of its own media. Another great reference I would say is the original Saw, because while that's a scary, I find it more of a drama than horror. It's just a drama with horror elements, and what I love about horror so much is that you can put it really with any genre and it would work. It's really adaptable and it's really understandable, and you can put it in any narrative you want. But as long as you take consideration the story over effects and over scares, I think that's the way horror should be done.
Yeah, man. Now, I will say this in response to the question. When we're talking modern movies, I personally think a lot of people disagree with me here. I personally think a movie that did a really, really good job for a modern day movie was Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was
phenomenal.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah,
I thought Cabin in the Woods was fantastic. Joss Whedon is a thing of beauty.
Joss Whedon didn't direct the movie. He only wrote part of He co-wrote the script and
co-wrote it and produced it, but I forgot the name of the other guy that wrote it.
And if anyone wants some inspiration, that movie, that entire film was written in 3 days in a hotel room for a convention.
It was in
Drew Goddard.
They never thought it would come out.
If you are having trouble with a script, take that in consideration. You can do it. You have to put your mind to it and work your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel main reason people didn't like that movie was because the marketing sort of misrepresented,
And that's
what the
something.
movie was supposed to be. They
Not the
thought they
first
were,
trailers, but the TV spots, like they kind of made it this cut and paste, and everybody thought it was going to be another, same old, same old.
yeah, they thought it was going to be what the movie ended up parodying in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's a horror
Well,
movie.
a lot of it had to do with, and I think a lot of people are confused because when I saw that movie, I was in love, and I would come over to people and say, "You have to see this movie. You have to see it. You have to see it." But then they'd be like, "Why do I have to see it? It looks like a dumb movie, and you can't spoil it."
Yeah,
And
You
it's hard to sell it to somebody.
Yeah, it's really hard to sell it to somebody, and because if you spoil it, then the entire thing's off.
Yeah, you can't watch the movie. You can't watch the movie knowing the twist.
Exactly. So to everybody, watch the film for yourself, blindly. Take my advice, watch it, and then give it to other people, and don't spoil it. You'll understand our pains.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna go grab something to drink really quick. I will be back in like 10 seconds. But if you want to move on to the next question or the next topic, go right ahead. I'll be right back.
all right, what's the next question?
Okay. The next question comes from let me go on my thing right now. The next question comes from Josh. He's a great friend of mine, and I consider him a brother. And who is your favorite director of all time, and what is your favorite movie by them? I don't know if you answered this on a previous podcast or whatever happened, but yeah, that's the question.
Is it just horror or
No, everything.
everything?
And horror, I guess. You can put horror.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It really is.
I know. How about you answer this first?
Oh, God. For horror, it's impossible to pick. There's just so many amazing directors that bring it out every single year. I would have to say my personal favorite modern horror director, it will have to be Guillermo del Toro, because every single movie of his brings something new to the table and shows us a brand new form of technology. And my favorite movie by his is Devil's Backbone. It's this really scary film, but so rewarding and so...
Gentlemen, it's time to drink.
Good. And my favorite director of all time, forever, horror excluded, will forever be Wes Anderson. He is
Wes Anderson.
Really a man with a huge style and amazing things. And my favorite movie of his is my favorite movie of all time, which is Rushmore. It's this film about a kid who falls in love with his school and his teacher and causes a ton of trouble because he's the worst student of the school. And it's the funniest movie I've ever seen. The most beautiful movie I've ever seen. It has the best soundtrack I've ever heard. It's the film that got me into movies today. So, again, if you ever want to watch a movie, that is my recommendation completely.
Yeah. When it comes to Wes Anderson, personally, I've always, well, not always, but probably my favorite movie of his probably has to be the Grand Budapest Hotel. Did you see that one?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I saw that at a preview, and I was in love with it. Like from the second I saw it to the first trailer.
Yeah.
It's probably his funniest movie. I was crying throughout the entire thing.
It's sort of
I really, really wanted to see it. I just never got around to it.
like there's sort of the main story going on, but really, what it's about, it's sort of about the Nazis slowly starting to take over Europe, kind of. Like it's told in like this
it's
weird,
really metaphorical.
Yeah, it's sort of the decline of Western civilization, and like that's sort of the overarching metaphor and the themes and like just the stuff in the background. But I feel since it's in a far off place, in Europe, like it's a little less, it makes it a little more interesting. Like it fits his style more. I liked Moonrise Kingdom, okay, but I feel like problem with that was everything was a little too precious, you know? Like
Yeah,
everything was a little too cutesy and a little too special. I love the Royal Tenenbaums. That might be
yeah. That's
that
my
might
dad's favorite.
yeah, that might be. I think that might be his best movie, but my personal favorite of his has got to be the Grand Budapest Hotel, just because that the hotel itself almost is the main character. I mean, I know who the main character is, but like, it's just it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous movie to look at. Mr. Phillips said he tried to watch it and he wasn't able to watch it just because stylistically it's so jarring for someone who's not used to that kind of movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree. A lot of people are turned off by Wes Anderson movies for just the way they're presented, the way they're spoken, the way they're shown, and it's a real shame because really, when you get down to it, they're always beautiful stories. I think all of his movies are 10 out of 10 perfect, in my opinion. From Bottle Rocket to Grand Budapest, I think each one offers their own thing and gives great characters throughout the entire thing. It's truly a style to, to, to fall in love with. I think there's a lot of passion within every single one and a lot of love. It feels like a hand-stitched sweater where every single thing is like there's just so much fun and excitement. You can see so much of a person inside each and every film. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, it's weird that you. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying it's weird that you say there's so much of you can see so much of a person, but like it's something of his characters always seem nice.
Yeah,
You're real proud of yourself, aren't you?
Man, I know you said you watch the other shows, but it is a staple on the show to rip at least one burp an episode. I don't know if you're a burp guy.
I am not.
I was gonna say it'd be a great.
I know I would if I could, but it's physically not in me.
Before the end of the show.
Ooh. Burp, Charlie, burp, burp. That's
You guys do
another.
it.
That's another one of my favorite movies. Is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah.
That's a movie I can go to any second of the day, like any day of the week, and just sit through the whole thing and just Like I honestly, if you know me at all, it might make a little sense, but I've tried to model just like maybe not so much the physical appearance, but just little bits of my personality after Willy Wonka just a bit. like extremely cynical and kind of a smartass, but still just kind of weird. Yeah, weird and out there kind of stuff, you know? But
Yeah.
that's a weird thing about me.
Really quick, speaking of the old Willy Wonka, one of my favorite soundtracks of all time is the original Willy Wonka. But every time I sit down and there's a bunch of junk food before me, pure imagination plays in my head as like I make my plate. I'll get this big ass piece of cake, and I'm like, "Come with me." And it's great.
And speaking of horror movies, that's almost like Willy Wonka, the first one at least.
Oh, it's horrifying. It's terrifying.
It's a horror movie for kids. Like
It's one of those
Wizard of Oz.
that messes with your head, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's one of those children's horror. It's one of those children's films that just scare the hell out of you. Like if you've ever seen Return to Oz, there's some images I still can't get out of my brain, and I think a lot of what makes horror films so amazing to people is that you can really relate to them, and you remember being that one scared kid who's terrified to turn on the light or run. Like it stems.
You know what?
But I have a controversial opinion, and I know you guys are going to hate me for this, but I actually like the Tim Burton Willy Wonka more than the old one.
Oh.
You're not the only person I know who's said that, but
So fill us in on why.
I personally prefer the style. I like the jokes better. I think I as someone who worships Roald Dahl, I think it goes to the book better. Even though I know it's a stupid argument, but I think I always found it kind of more enjoyable. if only they cut out the stupid dad shit, then I think it would be
Oh yeah,
a
you're right.
flawless film.
That
They cut
movie,
Yeah.
that part bogs that movie down so much. I will
I
admit,
completely agree,
Wait,
but I
which
think
will-
the other parts make up for it.
mhm. I will admit that aesthetically and just visually, it is a far superior movie. I will say
Oh,
that.
it's incredible.
Yeah,
Which,
Oh,
which scene were you talking about? I didn't hear what you said.
I was talking about the dad moments, the one with Willy Wonka's dad,
Oh.
the
the
flashbacks.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah, but I thought it was cool to see Count Dooku. Like, I first watched that movie, and I was like, that's Count Dooku.
I'll always know him as Dracula, but everything, yeah, it's a strange, yeah, it's a really weird way to put it. I don't know, it's not my thing.
Have you ever
But
seen,
the rest of the movie is completely.
have you ever seen Christopher Lee singing heavy metal?
Yes.
I shed blood of the Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
He does it.
I haven't
He
seen
rocks
it.
it, man.
Yeah, he owns that. He owns that. He was, well, sadly, really terrific.
I love Christopher Lee. I always have. He's been one of my favorite actors.
Mhm.
Him and Peter Cushing destroyed the Hammer films, and they both moved on to be just spectacular actors on their own.
Mhm. I absolutely adore Peter Cushing. He's one of those. His character is like one of from the original Star Wars movie is one of those characters that I quote all the time, but nobody ever gets it just because
Yeah, absolutely. I always loved him in Star Wars. That was probably my first time I ever saw him in a film. And then when I saw him as Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein in the Hammer films, he became one of my favorite actors to this day. He's
All right,
brilliant.
so we have talked about the highs of the horror industry.
Oh, God.
Now, before we talk about the lowest of the low, let's talk about what caused it to happen. When, and if you could, specifically, what movie and when do you think kickstarted that generic trend of cut and paste horror when everything just got lazy?
Halloween.
In my opinion, when things become cut and here's what happens. There's always one good horror film that completely changes the entire world. Oh my God, this is the film. This is the one thing that you can't touch. And then there's replicators of it. And that's when it becomes bad. Like when Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, the original one, that movie is one of the best films of all time, in my opinion. It's fantastic in every single way. From Gunnar Hansen's performance as Leatherface to the amazing score and the amazing direction of Tobe Hooper and the gritty nature, it's phenomenal.
That's probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yeah, it's gold. But when that came out, there's a ton of gore films and constant whatever, and that started grindhouse cinema, and then it kept going and going and going until there was a new thing that popped up, and it was like zombies. Zombies are the new ones after the hit Night of the Living Dead. And the trend keeps happening. When Chucky came out, there was a whole killer doll phase. And then there was the werewolves and vampires for Twilight. Then there was the getting possessed by the devil with The Exorcist. Then now it's Ghost and Paranormal Activity, and with the rise of The Walking Dead, zombie movies are being filled again, having a kind of a revival. But
I don't think zombies are really presented as terrifying as they used to be anymore. I think they're more of just.
I never found zombies scary. I more found them fun, and that might be because of video games and kind of stuff going out of it. But
with like its arms and legs everywhere, just a big bloody mess.
Never mind.
What were you gonna say?
I lost my train of thought. It's not important. I apologize.
No, you're good, man. But we are talking basically where you think that. Oh, that one snuck up.
Back. Did you hear any of that?
No, I did not.
That was a bad one. No, I saw you muted your mic.
Okay,
oh
sorry.
man, that was a bad one just now, though. That snuck up on me.
Congratulations.
But
Um, honestly, when are vampires gonna have a comeback? I mean, for the longest time, a vampire was the scariest monster that you could ever come across.
Right
But
now, it's all Twilight. I think they already came back, and now people are sick of them.
Twilight,
Uh,
Twilight sort of
when
neutered
Twilight
vampires
happened,
as a
the
thing.
vampire became this sexy thing, and obviously they are sexual. Like if you really think about it, the biting
In
of the neck,
nature, yeah,
kind of the
yeah,
kind. There's a real nature to them,
but
and
Twilight,
while they're
Twilight, and even somewhat like Blade, like the Blade movies. Some
oh
of
yeah,
those
Blade is
really
totally
kickstarted like
sexual.
overkill.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the fundamental nature. You're right, Cole. The fundamental nature of Bram Stoker's Dracula is he's this sexual deviant. He's like seduces young women and lures them into his lair. It is. You are absolutely correct. I actually had to write an article on this for school. The nature of Dracula is like the fears of your human sexuality. Um, whereas going back to Frankenstein is like fear of defying God, and
Yeah,
Alien, touching on a science fiction horror movie, is about the fear of rape. If you go to Cronenberg's movies, one of my favorite horror directors,
I never even thought of that. Now that makes sense. That's beautiful.
yeah, Cronenberg is like the fear of losing control of your own body, like he did in Scanners, losing control of your mind.
Scanners was such a trippy movie, man.
Did you ever see a Videodrome? That's my favorite movie of his. Actually,
I
no,
have not.
Naked Lunch is probably my favorite Cronenberg movie. But he also did a movie called Videodrome. It was with James Woods. With Buddy James Woods. Da, da. Uh, that's sort of all the all the best horror movies. The Shining is based on fears of child abuse. It's all the horror movies, play to these stigmas and these paranoias that have been, tales as old as time, shall we say,
I agree.
or as old as
A
human
lot of them
nature.
come from like modern like fears and what's happening today, and I think a lot of it, yeah, as you were saying, like when the AIDS epidemic was coming out, zombie movies like 28 Days Later, and a lot of things were like sickness, and that was becoming more of a prevalent fear. When murders like Ed Gein were coming out, were first starting to happen, and big things. Texas Chainsaw was like the first to like take helm of it. It's all it really is all right now in this moment, and who knows, something horrible might happen in the next few days, and we can be scared of it. Oh, Godzilla, like the bomb in
Yeah,
Hiroshima.
I think playing to that again. I think a
Still got
movie
the hand on.
that traditionally isn't considered horror,
Yeah.
but certainly has a lot of horror elements to it. With one of its main characters, The Dark Knight, plays a lot to fears of terrorism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bane is a
Urban
terrorist.
terrorism.
That's what makes it more crazy about it. Yeah.
Well, I think even Heath Ledger is the Joker. I think he did an excellent job in the Dark Knight, because he wasn't the typical, to me. He didn't come across as the typical daddy issues, cynical villain. You know what I mean? Like, he felt scary and he felt feared. And when you talk about terrorism, like, it was that kind of situation where you didn't know what he could do next. You know?
Yeah.
I
For
think,
someone who claims to never have a plan, he is extremely organized.
yeah. I think one of my favorite scenes in recent movie history is the scene where he blows up the hospital. I think
Oh,
just
yeah, that's beautiful.
the still shot of him walking out in the nurse's outfit with that messy makeup on his face and things exploding in the background. I think
it's all improvised too. The whole not working at the remote.
I thought that was fantastic.
Heath Ledger, seriously, that's one of my favorite performances.
Yeah, and just the Joker as a character, like if you like analyze, what the character represents throughout, his 75 years of existence, each iteration, like sort of the Joker, tells of what were the most prevalent fears of the time. Like in the '89 film, the Nicholson Joker, he was almost sort of a wife beater character, or just more of like an Ed Gein or a Jeffrey Dahmer type person that would just take things way too far. Not
Right.
necessarily a terrorist, but in The Dark Knight, they certainly played the terrorist bit up more, just because that was in a post 9/11 world, and that's what our paranoia is certainly turned towards more since then. Now, I have no idea what the Jared Leto Joker is going to be like. Is it going to be fear
Terrible.
of what?
Terrible.
I don't know.
Oh my
Did
God.
you ever see?
I'll tell you what, after seeing the trailer, I thought it was going to be terrible too. And then I watched the trailer and I kind of... Grayson was there first time I saw the trailer, and I was actually a little bit excited about it after watching the trailer.
Whatever, however good it is, it's going to be better than Batman versus Superman.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh well, no doubt. But okay, well, let me say this.
Martha.
I had my thing on Jared Leto is that if I saw the trailers without hearing any of the stuff he did outside of the film, I would have a completely different reaction.
It just
Jared Leto,
Jared
Leto right now is trying to do the whole "this is the role that killed me" Heath Ledger thing, and it's becoming more of he's trying to get that marketing in. Like, he's been sending dead pigs to castmates. He's been apparently so in the role that the director's scared of him. These are all headlines.
It's more of a title than an actual character at this point.
I agree. So and who knew a cartoon clown could be this deep thing that could ruin your life and make you this psychologically crazy freak.
Did you see actually that?
Well, Jack Nicholson. Oh, I take that back. Jack Nicholson was already a crazy fucker, so never mind.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson was just... I think they just put makeup on him, and they just kept the
let him goof around.
He's just being Jack Nicholson, and he didn't realize the cameras were on.
In that case, we need a Gary Busey Joker.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see a Crispin Glover Joker.
That would be fantastic. I never even thought of that.
Gary Busey.
Crispin Glover is okay. There's this little short series on YouTube, and only a handful of people I know would ever get it, but and fewer still would even like it. But it's 5 little shorts on YouTube. It's called David Lynch's and Crispin Glover's Big Blockbuster Adventure, and it's these two guys pretending to be Crispin Glover and David Lynch, and they try to make this big blockbuster together, and it's the weirdest. They totally play up the whole, strange, and they sort of riff with the whole absurdities of those two people. Speaking of David Lynch, Eraserhead has probably got to be one of my favorite horror movies.
Oh, terrifying.
Eraserhead.
Huh?
I said Eraserhead was great.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I experienced it in a way. Here's how to experience Eraserhead, in my opinion. Go with somebody who knows all the metaphors, knows all the symbolism, knows everything, and then have them not tell you anything about it. Watch the film with them. Be confused. Let yourself be confused, and then let them explain to you what happened, what it all means. That's what happened with me, and it became this. It's this. I was just watching it, trying to figure things out in my head, and I would eventually give up because it's really complex and really hard to understand. And then just have somebody tell you all of it, because it really is this mind-blowing experience, and I think it's more than a movie. It's really art house.
I mean, you can't get much artsy and fartsier than Lynch.
You really can't. He's a genius.
You know who
he really is.
trying to make this go full circle, you know who actually saw Eraserhead and got him the gig for Elephant Man?
Who?
You know who was responsible? Mel Brooks.
No way.
He saw Eraserhead and said, "This man is a genius," and he was the guy who gave David Lynch the project for The Elephant Man.
That's
Oh,
my
that's
favorite
cool.
movie of his and one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's super cool. I am not an animal. Oh, it's so sad. so depressing, but so good, so good.
Now,
Makeup.
did we have any other questions? I think there was one on Instagram, wasn't there?
We have one more, and it's by my brother Isaac Beer, who's in the band The After Show. They are phenomenal, and they're going places. I can easily tell. Let me see what he's had to say. It was, what was your favorite film from the last 10 years? Overall, not horror.
Ooh, that's tricky.
Mm.
I'm gonna let you boys answer this.
Cole, you go first, man. That's your brother.
Okay. I have a couple. I listed them off because I knew this was going to be impossible to think of off the top of my head. One of my favorite films the past 10 years is Frances Ha. It's this independent film starring the daughter of Sting and Greta, I forget her last name, but it's phenomenal. Noah Baumbach is one of my favorite directors personally. He's kind of an adult Wes Anderson, and he destroys it with this film. It's beautiful scenery, and it's one of those films that it's a portal into someone else's life. It's really true to form. You just keep it like it's also real. There's not one line of dialogue that seems forced. It's a really incredible ways of script. I love the movie Her, which is Spike Jonze, one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, Her was actually really, really good.
You know what Spike Jonze movie that I absolutely loved that no one ever talks about?
Which one?
Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, I always thought you were going to talk about, what's it called? Being John Malkovich or... Yeah, but I love... Which is another fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. It's so weird. All of his ideas are so weird. But yeah, Where the Wild Things Are is amazing in my opinion too. As someone who grew up with the book, and that came out in the last 10 years. As someone who grew up with the book religiously, yeah, it hit all the marks, and it's really beautiful
and
really
it's definitely Where the Wild Things Are. It's definitely different from the book. They definitely have very different cues and very but it's like I when that movie came out, I was sort of like, it was like at a time when I was sort of realized I was gonna have to stop being a kid, and like I was sort of on the cusp of my adolescence, just sort of starting that time. I remember going to see it with my mom, and just the end of that.
Oh, it makes me cry.
Very few movies make me cry. Like I almost never cry at movies, but I cried at the end of Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, me too. It's really easy because it tugs you. It hits so close to home. And Spike Jonze's whole purpose of making this movie was to be the most childlike movie of all time, and focusing all on the kid's perspective and all on everybody's things, and each character is a metaphor. Each character all wants to please him. It's gorgeous, and it's the perfect director, the perfect script, the perfect everything. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
All right.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So,
two other movies I have are Inside Llewyn Davis by the Coen brothers.
You like that one?
Yeah, this is my personal favorite Coen brothers film. I loved it. Perfect music. Oscar Isaacs is one of my favorite actors of all time, and this is probably my favorite role of his. He's brilliant. And yeah, it's just a great film. And then the last one is Nightcrawler, which is...
Oh, Nightcrawler was kick-ass.
It's one of those films that, like, so disturbing. Disturbing.
It's another one of those films, I wouldn't consider it horror, but it's a very, very unsettling movie.
Oh, completely. It's all psychological.
It's social
in your brain.
Right.
And it's one of the first movies in a while that shocked me. Like, I don't get shocked easy. I'll watch Grindhouse films every day, all day and night. But that movie, for some reason, just got to me and gave me this feeling, this tense feeling that I haven't experienced while watching anything.
Well, you know what movie? And these were going to be my picks for the list, and I know I'm kind of cheating here. I know I'm cheating a little bit with one of these movies, but a movie that I thought was fantastic to come out in the 21st century, not so much the last 10 years, but I thought Mulholland Drive was a fantastic movie.
Oh, I need to see that. I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Grayson,
if you're a fan of Lynch, you would like it. It's that's the one with yeah, I've seen Mulholland Drive.
Laura Haring?
Laura Dern. Is it Laura Dern?
No, it's like Lauren Haring or Herring. I think it's Herring. Laura Herring.
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm just trying to think of the actors who are in it.
Melanie
Bill.
Watts was in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh wait, was she? Who was she?
Yeah, she played the woman named Betty.
Okay, I think I know. I think I know who you're talking about. It's been a while since I've seen that one. But who's this spooky little worm guy with a video camera?
God, it's an amazing performance.
Are
you talking about Nightcrawler?
No. Mulholland Drive.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit! Hang on.
He calls him
Adam
on the
Kesher.
phone. Yeah, yeah, like who was accused of real life murder. Did you know that?
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was him, right? Adam. That's the character though. It was Adam. I think Kesher in the movie.
Was it? No, like the little.
He was played by Justin Theroux.
I'm gonna look this up.
All right.
What
are you talking about? The weird disabled guy?
Wait, am I thinking of Mulholland Drive or am I thinking of I might be thinking of something else. Oh, I was thinking of
What did you just Google? Like weird worm guy with camera?
No. No, he doesn't look like a worm. I'm getting my David Lynch's confused. I'm looking at him right now. I was thinking of Lost Highway. Oh, I'm sorry. Lost Highway is the one with the guy with the video camera.
That's what I was trying to rack my brain. I'm like, I want to say you're talking about this guy, but I don't ever remember him running around with a camera.
Yeah, it was Robert Blake is the guy who was charged in real life for murder.
Yeah.
He plays the mystery man. It's Robert Loggia is the sort of like this gangster character, and Bill Pullman is the main guy, and he's married to Patricia Arquette.
Yeah. Well, going off of this is actually killing two birds with one stone. Somebody pitched the question earlier. Your favorite director of all time?
Oh yeah, you didn't answer that.
Me?
Oh no, Red. Did you answer that?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, you guys answered that. Sorry, I'm such a chatterbox. You guys go for it.
Good, man. Trust me. But one of my favorite movies to come out in the past 10 years from my favorite director, Inglourious Basterds, was a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Oh God, how did I forget about that?
Grayson, I know you have the poster hanging up in your room.
Yeah.
But how'd you feel about it?
Stylistically, I would honestly, like for a while, like for a good year, I was like, all things Tarantino all the time. Stylistically, like aesthetically, it's probably visually. I mean, is what I'm saying. It's probably my. Actually, no, I take it back. It's one of his better films, but I would like Tarantino so much more if he stopped making cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like ever since Kill Bill, like every movie he's made has been a cartoon. Like I want to see him go back to something like Jackie Brown. I want to see him do like a modern something like I want him to stop doing period pieces like as like a grindhouse movie. Like enough with the Inglourious Bastards, enough with the Django's, enough with the Hateful Eights. I want to see him do like another Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. Like Reservoir Dogs is one of my favorite movies, just because in the hands of a poor director, that movie would have just fallen apart at the seams. But he plays to his own strengths, and it's a heist movie where you never get to see the heist. I mean, just that is just on its own so intriguing, and he pulls you in with interesting characters and riveting dialogue, and it just works on so many different levels. And just a filmmaker's point of view, I can just appreciate it. Just to the extremely low budget, it's an inspiration for any young aspiring filmmaker. You know, if you want to, like, how to make your first movie, I feel, just because, like, you know, it doesn't make things too big, keeps it simple so things don't get out of hand, but it also it just sort of in that regard, I feel it's an important film for any young filmmaker, I feel.
Now, did you hear the news today? I was going to tell you today, but I ended up forgetting because we were all caught up and riled up by that review game. But we are in, if sources are correct and things play out the way they are. It's a rumor, but it's a very, 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 very trustable rumor. But we are in for a remake of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I heard.
No, come on.
I don't know why. I mean,
here's my opinion on Tarantino. I think he's gotten too comfortable with himself. He's the kind of director that knows what he's doing so well that it comes to the point where he just doesn't even try.
A literal light year up his own ass.
Yeah, really, he just shits out good movies. And he doesn't even like attempt. He effortlessly does it. Like people like Christopher Nolan.
It's kind of like what made him what he is in the first place.
Yeah, people like Christopher Nolan spend 10 years of their life trying to make a classic and fail. Tarantino makes a movie in a year, and it becomes this amazing film. But I think that's gotten to his head, and I think it's gotten to the point where he's not interesting. And I wish he would try something different, try something out of his style, something that's not there. Like Kill Bill was a step in the right direction where he was getting to the point where he was making too many gangster films. And it got to the point where, like, okay, is this all you're going to do, make gangster films? So he tried something different, and it worked completely. And then now I think he's on that same level, as you said, more periodically, period films and Western. And I think it's to the point where he needs to jump off the diving board and try something completely different for his next film. If he has 3 films left, which we all know isn't going to be true.
Yeah. No, for something completely different.
Well, yeah, I thought, talking about his modern stuff, yeah, it's very cartoonish, but I thought The Hateful Eight was okay.
I didn't like Hateful Eight, but I think Django Unchained might be his best film of all, in my opinion.
I liked Hateful Eight, and if you saw it in 70mm, I liked Hateful Eight up until the intermission. Like, I thought...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I really liked it up until the intermission, and then I liked the flashback scene after the intermission, but after that, it just sort of takes a nosedive into...
That's why I said it was, like,
just profane. Like, I have no problem with swearing, but if you're going to have these old Hollywood aesthetics, like, because he uses the old lenses, and it looks like an old Hollywood movie, but to hear them saying, oh, this fucker, and, like, this dirty nigger, just, like it's just so jarring. It is like, it doesn't work, it doesn't mesh.
Right.
Like, well, that's what I was saying, like, he just can't not be himself. He cannot write as another way. This is the way Tarantino writes, this is the way Tarantino films are made. And I think that's the mindset he has. I think the scene that ruined Hateful Eight for me, and the entire movie went downhill. It has a great opening, great everything. It was the scene where he talks about him sucking his big black dingus and his black. so over the top. It wasn't funny. It wasn't.
It's funny out of context. It's funny because it made me laugh just now. It didn't make me laugh when I first saw it, but out of context, when you bring it up in a conversation, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is funny, but then when you watch it, it comes out of nowhere. It's not funny. It's not disturbing. It's not really anything. It
seems like he's trying hard to be edgy.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, that's the exact way to put it. I felt it was so over the top, and so it wasn't gross. It didn't get a reaction out of me. I didn't see anything in that scene other than to be a sad attempt to try to make me go, and it didn't work.
Pretty dirty.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I think that's the point where I realized, okay, Tarantino, it's time to it's time to move on.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I think Hateful Eight to me was the biggest disappointment because I love Django so much. I think it's one of the best films in the past 10 years. Another answer to the question. I love that movie. However, it got to I remember when the second that movie was done, Tarantino did an interview and he said, "Oh, you thought that was a Western? Well, I'm going to show you a real Western, my next film, Hateful Eight." And again, pumped. That movie was already 10 out of 10 for me. How can it get any better? And then it just kind of delved, and I feel like I need to watch it again. It's one of those movies it's like Phantom Menace. I got to watch it 10 times, and then maybe I'll understand it, but most likely it won't be enjoyable.
I got this here. I got a story really quick, just something for fun. As you guys know, the football team, the Tennessee Titans. Right?
Yeah. I don't know football, but I know
you guys don't know football. Sports! Yeah!
Sports!
Well, it says here that the Tennessee Titans host a movie night at the stadium, and they forgot to turn the sprinklers off. The Tennessee Titans became the talk of Nashville last week, also taking the NFL by storm with a fascinating trade of the #1 pick in the draft, so perhaps their built-up goodwill following that move will make what happened to some few area residents who recently visited Nissan Stadium water under the bridge. But season ticket holders were invited to the stadium for movie night and were caught off guard when in the middle of the movie, the field's water sprinklers went off at their normally programmed time. Someone on the grounds crew didn't get the movie memo and forgot to shut them off.
That's awesome.
The movie, it was Minions, a kid-friendly film, which naturally brought a crowd.
Why were they a bunch of football players Minions? What a manly film.
Someone said, and this was no Rocky Horror Picture Show-like effect. It was clearly a mistake. Hilariously, the movie's trailer begins with a scene over open water. You can't make this up.
That's so awesome.
Someone said, go ahead and use this as a metaphor for the team's recent cold snap, the trade, the forecast of the upcoming season, or whatever you want. We've used up our fill of water fun here. They were talking about Minions and how it brings in a crowd of people who are still wet behind the ears.
God, these Minions needs to stop.
I think they've just about run their course.
I don't think so, because they're still the #1 most selling character in the world. They're more.
You know what's going to be worse than Minions? I think
it's a fad. It's a fad. True and true. But I think kids' films are such a. We're in a weird trend right now where kids' films are. What's it called? There's a new trend where there's a new characters based off of just gibberish speaking monsters like the Rayman Rabbits and the Minions and whatever, and it's garbage.
You know what I think is going to be worse than the Minions?
What's that?
Zootopia. Give it a couple of weeks. Give it a couple of months. Once Zootopia gets a video game and everything else, I think it's going to be worse.
Well, are you
talking
about it in the sense that people are going to try to decipher it and make it to seem this big, deep thing when it really isn't?
Right.
Did I ever tell you the story of a friend of mine who went to go see Zootopia opening night.
And it was filled with furries.
Stories everywhere.
And where the wolves are howling. Have you seen Zootopia?
Yeah, I've seen.
The scene where the wolves are howling, a bunch of the furries started like howling.
Oh, no.
It was. They were more disruptive. The furries at Zootopia were more disruptive during the movie than the nerds were at the Force Awakens.
Oh my God! How? But like, I didn't like Zootopia. I'm gonna say that right now.
I liked it. I think there's like a lot of good messages in it, honestly, for kids. I mean, some of it's heavy-handed and stuff. Like the whole racism thing is obvious, but there's like the whole thing, like the young female character makes her way through the world, but she doesn't force everybody to like. She doesn't force people to like accept her. Like they don't force her. She doesn't force them to like lower their standards so that she would be allowed in. You know, like
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of feminist sort of propaganda. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be political.
Men are evil. Men are evil, and their sole purpose in life is to hurt women.
We need we need an entire episode about feminists. We could go on for hours.
Okay, but here's the thing. I have two major problems with Zootopia. And one is that I think that what they are trying to do the whole racism thing. I just thought the animal kingdom itself was too broad of a subject to base racism off. If it was Starbelly Sneetches versus the regular Sneetches, then maybe we'd get somewhere. But I think prey versus a predator, those aren't distinct enough. Like, and what do the rules apply? Can an elephant go into a gerbil shop? Can the cat meet with the dog? Can
predator to one creature might be prey to some other creature.
Exactly, and I think everything's a prey to something. Like, like where do bugs lay? Are they prey or predator? They're both. Or, I think it's way too broad. I think they must have had to go to some other subject or specific things if you wanted to make a racist point. And then the second point I had is it's way too mean. It's one of those movies that's just so ugly and horrible. Like the parents are like, you will never make a stand in this world. The boss, you will never make a stand in this world. Strangers, you will never make a stand in this world. And it's unbelievable for a character to fulfill her thing all by herself with no support. I think it's too mean. There's this one scene in the middle, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the characters goes through this horrible traumatic experience, and they show the flashback of it, and it's truly sad. And it's never brought up. It's never done anything with it. It just shows it's just an ugly look on this world, and it's sad. But whatever, it's a Disney film.
Whatever, it's a Disney film. Just
I think it was ballsy of Disney to sort of, show sort of like the darker side of maybe not humanity itself, but like sort of a metaphor of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I thought it was that scene for me was brutally honest.
Yeah, that's the thing with the movie. I think a lot of the references will go over kids' heads because they don't know what the hell's going on. I think in most of the parents, it's a movie for parents, and I guess it's a movie for like an older audience, as strange as it sounds.
My grievance is, why was Shakira in there?
Because they needed a pop singer, and every animated movie now has a dance sequence at the end of it. Because
how many years has it been though since Shakira's even been relevant? Like, why did they use Shakira?
Literally a decade.
Shakira, the song isn't even that good.
No, the song's horrible. Again, it's just pandering. You always have to, like the Peanuts movie had the song with what's her name, Megan Trainor. Yeah,
did it? I never.
Yeah.
I really liked the Peanuts movie. Did you ever see that one?
I saw it. It was okay. It was cute. That's what I expected it to be, and that's what I wanted it to be. You know, it's Peanuts. If they actually made it like the source material, it would be depressing, and no kid would understand it. Basically, Peanuts is just a bunch of 12-year-olds wanting to kill themselves.
You're right. You're right. It is a very bitter, cynical comic strip.
It's really bitter. It's really cynical, but I think it's beautiful. You know, it's one of those things. Again, one of the things that inspired Wes Anderson so much was Peanuts cartoons and Snoopy and.
I actually see that. I wouldn't have put that together, but yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, there's a reference to every single a Peanut thing in every single one of his movies.
Really?
Such as.
Yeah, you can find it in like Rushmore. It's the Christmas time song. There's a dog named Snoopy in Moonrise Kingdom. There's a lot of things that go into it, and like I again, Peanuts is probably a huge influence for me too, because it's just such a great commentary, and it's not funny. It's more just.
It's very dry.
It's beautiful. I think the Peanuts movie should have been more like that, but whatever. It's for a modern audience of children.
I think
make it about Charlie Brown having a crush.
I think it was more of just like a modern day cash-in type deal. Like there was never really a official Peanuts movie, and they wanted to be the first ones to do it and put a modern twist on it. You know,
just stay the hell away from Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, they're gonna do it one day.
Yes, please stay the hell away from Calvin and Hobbes. That'd be a real. But animation nowadays is just for cash grabs. Nowadays we're seeing more films about toys and video games and whatever, just to sell stuff. The Angry Birds film, the Trolls movie. What's up?
I liked the Lego movie though.
I haven't seen the Lego movie, but people tell me it's good.
I thought the Lego movie was pretty great.
Well, just in the hands of other directors, I feel it would have turned into like the Smurfs or whatever, but it just the stylings of the film, it just works to its benefit. It's just it's almost sort of self-aware Monty Python-esque humor, very much in the vein of Regular Show and Adventure Time, and sort of this sort of the weird kind of random humor of today's audience. But it really, they do it so it's not in your face and annoying, and it really works on a bunch of different levels.
I can see that. Yeah, I've always wanted to see it. Ever since people were like freaking out because it got snubbed at the Oscars, I've always wanted to check it out.
Yeah, it did get snubbed at the Oscars.
Yeah, everyone was like, it should have won, and it's this huge Lego movie ordeal. Whatever. But it's anything. Animation right now is pretty depressing to me. I wanted to get into it so often. It's like when I really wanted to do animation for like my entire life, and then just recently, as watching films like grow up, I realized like, okay, if I spend my entire life trying to do it, I'll probably be the eyebrow animator for Frozen 3. And
well, it's also one of those things. I don't think there's actually, or going back to what you said, animation today is more or less a cash grab than anything. And I don't know of any fantastic animators off the top of my head that are still doing work or modern.
A lot of them retired. A lot
of the young blood is in television. Honestly, Pendleton Ward.
Exactly.
Pendleton Ward.
Pendleton Ward is I can put that name on there.
The guys who did Regular Show. Say what you want about Regular Show. At least it's extremely creative with its formula.
I agree.
Great, but the animation didn't stick out to me.
I think Cartoon Network doesn't. Cartoon Network and animation today doesn't cater to children anymore.
Yeah,
and that's kind of depressing to me.
It caters to tweens and teens. I feel
tweens, middle school kids.
A show that I've fallen in love with recently.
Grew up with these certain things, like the Powerpuff Girls reboot is directly aimed at tweens and stuff like that. But these are kids that will say that they grew up with the Powerpuff Girls, but nobody did. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I watched the Powerpuff Girls when I was a kid, and I loved it. It was just a Monster of the Week episode thing.
Have you
Yeah.
seen the reboot?
Yeah, no, I haven't actually watched it, but I've seen clips of it.
There is
The
They don't
infamous
have the
one.
same. They don't have the same theme song. Which why even bother?
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah, really.
Bum, 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 bum.
You can't lose, man. It's great, but I think
Sugar.
Spice and everything nice.
nice.
These are the ingredients.
It's brilliant. But again, it's all catered towards college kids and tweens nowadays.
Are you a fan, Grayson?
One show that I've actually really fallen in love with recently is We Bare Bears.
Yeah, We Bare Bears is actually pretty good.
It almost is like visually, like the backgrounds have like this watercolor look to them. Like I've seen like they're clearly not actual watercolors. It's all done digitally, but it's just such a fun show for like something if I had a little brother, I would be like completely comfortable him seeing it, and just like something that's in good taste, and it's legitimately funny. Another show, probably my sister and I's favorite show, and the second spin-off series was good but not great. But the first series I put it in the same camp as Star Wars for me. It's got to be Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah,
That show.
Avatar was good.
Have you guys seen the Clone Wars CGI? That series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching it now. It's brilliant. Like
Season 1, I had a little trouble getting through.
it gets better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love the once you get into the mall stuff, it gets pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mall stuff is amazing. I love the art style. Gendy Tartakovsky has always been good with that, and even now with his recent projects being like Hotel Transylvania, it looks fantastic. Even though the movie's whatever.
Have you been watching Rebels?
I have not, but I need to.
My sister and I have been watching that. I actually really like it.
I love the cast of characters. It looks good.
Like I said, I still need to get into it.
Yeah. If there's one episode you're gonna watch, and if you want to try to get a feel for the show on whether or not you'd like it, and you only feel like you don't really want to start at the very beginning, but you want to try to get a flavoring for the show, one episode, it's called Siege of Lothal. It is really good. And if you watched Clone Wars, there's some payoff in it too for that.
You got someone at the door.
It sounds awesome.
No, that was just me.
No, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the episodes with the Night Sisters the most. The witches from Clone Wars, they're awesome. And I wish the thing is with Star Wars is that a lot of the beautiful stories that are shown off camera are really unspoken throughout the entire series. So it's awesome. There's a TV show devoted to what the Hutts are doing.
Yeah, I
it's
thought that
great because
Did you
they're
hear?
really interesting. They're really interesting. Who knew? These big fat slugs. They're great.
Did you hear Del Toro pitched sort of a job like a Hutt gangster underworld Star Wars spin-off movie?
I would love that. In my opinion, Jabba the Hutt is the best Star Wars villain. I know, controversial.
I don't know about that.
I know it's really tough.
I love
There's so
Jabba
many
the Hutt, but
Jabba the Hutt's this just big, dirty sleazeball gangster who has sex with girls and kills them, and he's just this. You gotta love how horrible he is.
He's scum. He is the definition of scum.
Okay, there's this
Literally.
terrific podcast that you might like. Have you ever heard of the Star Wars Minute?
I have not.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
This what it is it's like these two guys who host it, and then each week they have a guest, whether it's like some comic book writer or one of their friends from another podcast. But each episode, like each year, they do a different movie. In each episode, they go through minute by minute analyzing the Star Wars movies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like now they completed the original trilogy. Right now they're on Phantom Menace, minute 120 something.
That's brilliant. Oh, gotta check that out now. That sounds really in depth and.
Yeah, and they talk about just a bunch of like behind the scenes stuff, like the toys that came from it, and like just in universe stuff, like Wikipedia, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love
How long are the episodes?
Yeah, I'll read that.
Anywhere from like 10 minutes to 30 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, and each minute they analyze, a minute of the Star Wars movies.
That's really cool.
Because there's some scenes I love to analyze. Like there's the dancing scene in Jabba's palace. I think that's the perfect example of foreshadowing in film. It's scary, man.
Yeah, and one of the things they talk about in that was like, why is it that all aliens in movies, like regardless of what they look like, all the males are attracted to humanoid females, like sexy, like birthing hips, like all look like.
I don't know, man. We talked about in a previous episode. I used to think Twi'leks were the hottest thing on the planet.
Seriously, I always felt alone on that. Thank you for saying that. They're hot as hell.
There was this. I was at Celebration 6 a few years ago.
I was there too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Secret Seth Green panel that was there?
No, I didn't go to any panels. I just walked around the show floor. I was too young.
Check out. You should check out. There was a series that they had greenlit before Disney had bought the rights to Star Wars, but and it was canceled before.
We talked about this, right?
Yeah, Rhett and I showed Rhett this, but
this is
it's called Star Wars Detours, and it was like a Star Wars comedy series, created by the guys who do Robot Chicken.
Now it sounds tacky. It sounds tacky, and the animation will put you off a little bit, but the humor in it is pretty funny, man.
That's awesome. I'm down for it.
See this marble?
Yo,
it's doing that. Have you ever seen the?
Every character has just the most out there story. Like Ben Kenobi is just this old bum who has the Force and kind of uses it to wow young chicks. Like there's a scene where
awesome.
Yeah, and they never released any episodes of it since it was canceled, but they have clips of it online, and just the trailer for it is amazing. I wish they would have gone back and done something with it.
Yeah,
fantastic. I really wish they would have done it.
On the topic of Star Wars, what's your opinion on George Lucas?
I think Star Wars turned into something that he really didn't have control of.
He became the very evil he swore to destroy.
It was kind of
really, he was this young independent filmmaker who was trying to fight the studio, but in the end he became
the ultimate AAA idol.
The ultimate billionaire who you can't say no to.
That's my thing is I think he took a lot of credit for what he couldn't do. I think he's the face of Star Wars. So I think people he didn't forget to remember this, but he didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi.
Irvin Kershner did. Kershner.
Hey,
yes,
hey.
Empire Strikes Back.
Hey.
He's a.
Hey.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Boba Fett?
I love Boba Fett. Boba Fett's awesome. I know he does nothing and he's really worthless, but design alone, he's the best.
Well, now you get to see him as a little kid.
No, I don't want. God, no.
You guys, hey.
You like Darth Vader?
Do you guys like
Darth Vader? Well, now you'll get to see him as a little kid.
This is George Lucas.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, okay. Is he cool?
or any meaning behind what turns him evil?
Oh no,
No,
he's
he
just a little.
hates sand.
He's just a little boy, and he gets taken
Fucking
away from his
sand.
mom, and he's really sad.
Fucking
You know,
sand.
you know why? You know why
Is he just a
Anakin
good
killed
actor?
those younglings?
What's up?
You know why Anakin killed those younglings? It's because they tracked
Because he was
sand into the
mad?
temple. Because those fucking kids dragged sand into the temple. Wasn't having any of that.
Oh my god, dude, that scene. Oh wow.
And
But as I was saying, like George Lucas was this kind of person that I think took a lot of credit for things other people did, and then when he wanted to bring it back, people were like, "Okay, George Lucas, show us the way," and then he didn't know how to do any of it, and then
Well, I
failed.
don't think he had anything to do with how deep the lore goes in Star Wars. I think that was mostly the
He really
fans
didn't. He did.
who
he was
worked
just-
on the movie because you know, you look at, I was telling Grayson about this, I could never find it. I don't know if the video got taken down, but it was literally a video called like Top 5 George Lucas embarrassing moments or what the hell moments or something like that. I think it was a What Culture video. But
That's awesome.
it was about him at a panel, and they were pitching an idea for Clone Wars. Clone Wars and some spin-off series that was set like 2,000 years in the past, and they were introducing their main character, who was the same species as Darth Maul. So she was standing over here like a little model that, you know, a 2
I've
foot
heard this.
model. And then there's Darth Maul over here, and they're comparing the stories. And keep in mind, they're 2,000 years apart. And George interrupts the entire press conference, pushes them together, and is like, "Look, they're friends." They were talking about like everybody in the room was kind of like waiting for him to say, "Just kidding," but he never did. The whole panel was just like, "What the fuck, George?"
Some guy said it was like a pregnant silence. That's the worst. Oh my god.
Look, they're friends.
He,
I really just don't. I don't think Star Wars. I don't think he can take credit for everything Star Wars. Like you said, I think it turned into something that he not didn't want it to be, but something that he just can't keep track of anymore.
well, he probably had 10 to 20 other really good films in him, but he just decided to keep making Star Wars films.
Yeah,
like
because,
that.
you know, Howard the
I
Duck.
feel like if he was like, okay, original trilogy done, now let me make a great movie by myself.
Howard the Duck.
And then, yeah, well, like, oh my god. But now it's great to hate George Lucas. So whenever he makes something like Red Tails or Strange Magic, everybody shit on it. Everybody run over and shit on it because it might gain some traction. You know, I feel like now we're just making fun of an old man.
Hey,
yeah, I know that. I feel that's kind of in poor taste. I mean, like,
do you guys like Princess Leia?
Do I get to see her as a kid? No.
Being her kid.
like,
Never mind. My fault. I got it mixed up.
But I'll make fun of George Lucas day and night because he deserves it.
oh, I like George Lucas. I honestly, but there's no Star Wars without him. Like he's certainly a better technical director than he is an actor's director. But he has made, like, if you've seen THX 1138 or American Graffiti,
Fantastic.
he is a great filmmaker. Like, just somewhere
really
along the way,
is.
like, the worst problem was, like, I don't think the prequels were entirely his fault. I think it was like he was just surrounded by yes men, and he hadn't made a movie in a long time.
Yeah.
And he is,
I don't think you can blame Lucas for the prequels either. I don't know if you can entirely blame him for the special edition remakes that we've gotten either.
Yeah, that's not really his. Well, there's a little bit of him. I think he just made really dumb decisions. And
Have you seen the Force Awakens trailer, George Lucas edition?
yes, oh my god, that video kills me. But like, here's, I just think he. Okay, I want to talk about this scene because I brought it up before. The dance scene in Jabba's palace was amazing before. Yep, and then he completely messed it up with Jedi Rocks. Probably my least favorite addition in any film ever.
Yeah.
It's god awful. It's awful. Giant cockroach face screaming in the camera.
Oh, he is up and jamming now.
Yeah, you're not close enough. You have to go literally your entire mouth. There you go. Now you're the cockroach man from that scene. Congratulations.
They should have even animated him. They should have made it all mouth.
Yeah, he should have just been a mouth. No legs, just a walking mouth.
What was wrong with Lapsy Neck?
Dude, you're speaking my language. I've known any of these things come from normal people. Yeah, like, yeah, that song's great. Like, yeah, but
wow,
that's scary, man. That scene is terrifying, and then they just made it into a cartoon.
The one thing that would have made it less of a cartoon, not in the original version, the Lapsy Neck, Snice Noodle's lips. I'm sorry, I can't ever get past.
There's no way to do that character. There really isn't.
If they'd have gotten rid of those big red lips, like it would have been a creepy looking creature. I mean, because it's just essentially like a tumor with like straw legs, like this giant.
It's kind of like every club. It's kind of like that one chick in every club that just swallows 10 cigarettes and then washes it down with a bucket of cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. But okay, but then you can't deny the brilliance of the design of Max Rebo.
I think Max Rebo is probably
Did
the
you ever
best
see the
character.
robot chicken thing of Max Rebo?
Oh, Max Rebo?
I think so.
Rebo's greatest
Max
hit.
Rebo's greatest
The guy
hits.
who looks like a blue elephant. The guy who looks like a blue elephant. I
don't know a single person who sees Max Rebo and just thinks like, ugh.
Right.
He's just an awesome little guy, just a little dude.
Honestly, with all these new spin-offs and one-off series that they're coming out with, I wouldn't be surprised to see an entire movie come out in the next couple of years about Max Rebo.
If you read the book, like the fiction of the Max Rebo band and like where it came along, it's really good. It's really interesting.
Is it canon?
Not anymore.
Is it canon? It's legend now, isn't it? It's not
anymore.
It's not canon anymore. It's not canon. It has to be canon. I don't deal with anything that isn't canon.
Hey, Cole.
Okay, now Max Rebo's this disgusting freak bounty hunter. Okay, the story's changed, everybody.
Cole.
Okay, what I think is hilarious is that us as nerds, like, you know, with canon and not canon, and now I guess legends, like we have to decide how fictional something is, like the levels, like, because it's all fictional, but really this is more fictional than this, or this is less fictional than this. I think
Max Rebo was an arena battle or an arena fighter with a better record than Bendick Starkiller. Like, you ever play Knights of the Old Republic?
But I mean, the Star Wars canon, the extended universe, there's a lot of stupid moments, like the Star Wars zombies and the droid that has force powers that exploded himself.
With something that's in the Star Wars lore, that's going to happen a lot.
Did you ever see the?
Oh yeah, no. But then, like the rest of it, there's a lot of great moments.
God, there's so much talking going on right now.
Did you ever see the thing? It was like this X-wing pilot that's a jackrabbit.
No.
It's
yes.
Like this
oh my God.
X-wing pilot. It's like the dumbest thing ever. What I would have liked.
There's so many stupid moments.
Oh man. Hey Cole.
Yeah.
12 days away, man.
Oh, can't wait, dude. Can't wait.
I am pumped.
Rob Zombie, man. Rob Zombie and Megadeth.
Rob Zombie, Megadeth, Lamb of God, Ghost,
Can't wait for
Stab.
Ghosts. You got me into that now. I'm listening to it.
Oh, you are? Yeah, man, it's great.
It's awesome.
I tried to get Grayson into it. I don't think he liked it that much.
Which one is it?
Ghost BC. It's the guys who are satire.
Oh
that
yeah,
dress up like
those
the
guys. The Papa, what's his name?
Papa Emeritus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emeritus.
They were all right. I mean, I don't know. It's not really my shtick.
Yeah, it's very Sabbath.
Mhm.
That's what I could compare it to. Is probably Sabbath.
I
Yeah.
agree.
All right, guys. Well, I don't know. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about, then
Nah, I gotta go soon.
yeah. So
No,
We
I
go.
feel like we should all do this reaction because there's this terrific documentary that I think the both of you would like. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's called Jodorowsky's Dune.
I've
No.
heard about this, and I've seen the trailer for it. It looks incredible. Mick Jagger's in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to come over. I'll host a screening, and you guys
Absolutely.
it's going to be fantastic. I promise.
No, I'm so down for it.
Yeah.
yeah, man, we gotta bust out an episode of PSP Reacts. We really do.
Mhm.
Like it's been such a cool thing to talk about, but like we haven't sat down and done one yet. And we need to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day this week we can bust it out. Wednesday I'm busy. Tomorrow I'm busy, but maybe Friday. Maybe Friday night if you wanted to.
Okay. I
I'm
was-
working, but tomorrow. Oh, guys, tomorrow and the next day I'm skipping school to go see Iggy Pop in Miami.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet.
I know. Can't wait, man.
Nice, man. Have a good time.
Thanks, man. It's gonna be the best. He's a legend. He's a living legend.
Yeah,
It'll be
man.
incredible.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up the show here really quick. I want to thank Cole for coming on the show. Cole Carbone, ladies and
No
gentlemen.
problem.
It's
My
awesome.
pleasure, man. I had the best time ever.
Yeah, talking with us. This has been the longest show yet. I think we are at like an hour and 45 minutes.
Awesome.
We're going to hit 2 hours one day, but it was a great show, and thanks for coming on, Cole.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks, audience.
It's wonderful to meet you,
Our paper-thin audience.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Grayson, too. We got to hang out sometime.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to exit the call, I will wrap this bad boy up, and we will roll out with some music, and that'll be the end of the show.
Sexy.
All right, fellas. Thank
Stay
you once
gold.
again. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Oh, follow me on Instagram at @ColeyCow.
COLEY cow.
Yeah. There you go. Now you can keep up with my dumb art.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and kick you off so I can wrap this bad boy up. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Peepshow podcast, episode 3. It has been fantastic. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram at Peepshow Podcast, all one word. Special thanks once again to our guest, Cole Carbone. I'm going to kick you guys out, and we're going to
All right.
throw this in the dumpster. No questions asked.
If any
Bye.
any suggestions for show topics or wants to make a guest appearance on the show, also feel free to do that as well. Like Cole here, just reach out to
man,
us.
Cole actually duped out. He's gone.
Yeah.
But
That's
thanks
okay.
again to Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, if you guys have any ideas for shows or topics, or even want to come on the show, either let us know in person, because I'm sure all of you who watch the show know us in person. Either let us know in person, comment on this video, or comment on Instagram the show topics or when and where you want to be on the show, and we will make it happen.
I don't think I like Cole all that much, honesty.
Really?
Yeah, he seems full of himself. I don't think I like him.
He's a cool guy.
No,
We're still-
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like him very much. I'm surprised I haven't met him before.
Yeah, I think I've told you about him, and I think you thought he was somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are a couple of
really
Coles.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of Coles at our school.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Grayson, buddy, I'm going to kick you out, and we are going to throw this in the dumpster out back. No questions asked. Don't tell mother.
All right. Shush, shush, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. Eh?
See you, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Peep Show podcast. It has been fantastic. Today we talked the horror industry. We talked animation. It was a great show. Once again, thank you to special guest Cole Carbone. But anyways, this is actually the off of the very special request of Cole Carbone. He wanted us to roll out with the song Blue Moon by the Marcells, which is in the ending credits of An American Werewolf in London, Cole's greatest or favorite movie of all time. So we're going to roll out with that. And with that, I will catch you guys next time. Have a fantastic night. Have a beautiful life. And we will see you later.
Dang dang dang, ding it on ding blue moon, blue moon, moon moon, moon moon, blue moon, dang dang dang, ding it on blue moon. You saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart, without a love in my heart. Dang dang dang, ding it on blue moon. You just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really care for. And suddenly, oh dear, before me, the only one miles ahead. Oh, I heard somebody whisper me, oh me. And when I look, the moon is dancing on. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Dang dang dang, ding it on the blue moon.